No Star Wars story is complete without a badass bounty hunter, an individual who has a very particular set of skills they have acquired over a very long career, skills that make them a nightmare for people like, wait, wrong franchise, but my point stands. Bounty hunters were among the most dangerous and skilled individuals in the galaxy, armed to the teeth and ready to capture or kill for the highest bidder. But of all the bounty hunters we've met so far, which are the best of the best? That's what we're discussing today. These are the 10 deadliest bounty hunters in all of Star Wars. Before we dive in, a quick heads up. We recently made a deep dive video covering the 6 bounty hunters who appeared in The Empire Strikes Back. Those of course being Boba Fett, Bossk, Dengar, IG-88, Forlom, and Zuckuss. In the interest of not repeating ourselves, we're gonna leave them out of this video, but we'll link it in the end card and in the description if you haven't seen it yet. Let's take a look at 10 of the galaxy's other best bounty hunters. Number 1, Jango Fett. Attack of the Clones really did Jango Fett dirty. He's a lot tougher than it's made out to be when Mace Windu kills him on Geonosis. Jango Fett was a Mandalorian foundling who was adopted following the murder of his parents. His adoptive father, Jaster Muriel, held the title of Mandalore, leading the true Mandalorians in a civil war with Death Watch. Ambushed by the Death Watch and betrayed by his second-in-command, Montross, Muriel was killed by Death Watch leader Tor Vizsla, with Jango Fett becoming the new Mandalore. Eventually, the Jedi intervened in the conflict, siding with Death Watch. In one of the battles, Fett managed to kill 6 Jedi using no weapon beyond his own hands, feet, and armored body. However, this didn't change the outcome of the battle, as the true Mandalorians were soon wiped out, with Fett as the sole survivor. Following the conclusion of that conflict, Fett became a bounty hunter, and later was selected as the template for the Grand Army of the Republic's clone troopers, who he initially aided in the training of. Fett was recruited for this role by Count Dooku, who was one of the Jedi who fought against Jango many years prior. Jango had to prove himself by winning a competition and killing the fallen Jedi, Komari Vosa. Fett worked out his own moral code that he deemed honorable by his standards. Later, he would raise the clone he treated as his son, Boba Fett, by these codes. Considered an ultimate soldier, Fett was incredibly skilled, more than living up to his reputation. His blaster-slinging skills were advanced enough to allow him to gun down Jedi Masters, while his Mandalorian Beskar armor came equipped with vibroblades, a whipcord launcher, and a flamethrower. His Westar 34 blaster pistols featured hollowed-out grips for a faster draw and were coated in an expensive DeLorean alloy to allow for sustained fire without risk of overheating. Jango was also an excellent pilot, flying primarily 2 starships throughout his life, Jaster's Legacy and Slave One, the latter of which he was able to outmaneuver Obi-Wan Kenobi in. By the time of the Clone Wars, Jango Fett was widely considered to be the best bounty hunter in the galaxy. Number 2, Cad Bane. Following the unceremonious demise of Jango Fett, Cad Bane assumed the role of the widely considered best and one of the most experienced bounty hunters of the era. Although Bane's infamy grew during the Clone Wars in particular, he had a high standing both within the underworld and amongst other bounty hunters before the onset of the war, working with the likes of Ora Singh and even a temporary contract for Darth Maul. Bane specialized in fighting Jedi and dueled with some of the most skilled Jedi during the Clone Wars, including Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and Quinlan Vos. His reputation led him to be repeatedly employed by the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, working for him on numerous projects, including successfully infiltrating the Jedi Temple to steal a Jedi holocron containing a list of Force-sensitive children throughout the galaxy. Bane was also known to have worked for Jabba the Hutt, Count Dooku, and the Pike Syndicate, and remained active after the Battle of Endor before his death at the hands of Boba Fett. As a Duros, Cad Bane had red eyes and blue skin, and liked to wear a wide-brimmed hat, often chewing on toothpicks. Bane was a very cunning individual, and he often proved capable of outsmarting others. His strategic abilities made him an effective leader, though he preferred to work alone. Bane was a master marksman, utilizing his twin LL-30 blaster pistols as his preferred weapons. Like Django, he had an extremely quick draw, shown many times, such as in his standoff with Hunter of the Bad Batch. The combination of his rocket boots and weapons such as flamethrowers and stunners, on top of knowing when he was outmatched, proved useful in his numerous encounters with Jedi Knights. The breathing tubes around Bane's neck also prevented him from falling victim to a force choke. Bane was a very skilled pilot and flew the Rogue-class Porax-30 starfighter named Xanadu Blood, and, after the Clone Wars end, the Justifier. Bane is simply everything you want from a bounty hunter: deadly, cunning, resourceful, and utterly amoral. Number 3. EMBO. A member of the Cuzo species, EMBO was another bounty hunter who gained a fierce reputation during the Clone Wars, working for the Hutts and in groups like Krait's Claw. EMBO was a quiet, stoic, and disciplined individual, speaking only in his native language. He was also mostly ruthless, dispatching foe after foe without mercy or remorse, using his unique weapons to lethal effect. EMBO had no code beyond getting paid. Extremely acrobatic and agile, EMBO could jump very high and run faster than any human, while his proficiency in unarmed combat made him the equal of any Jedi or Sith when it came to close quarters fighting. He even managed to go toe-to-toe with Anakin Skywalker on Scipio. Unlike bounty hunters such as Cad Bane or Jango Fett, EMBO relied little on technology. EMBO's primary weapons were a bowcaster that can easily fold away for travel, and his unique, metallic, and wide-brimmed hat, which doubled as a shield and as a throwing weapon. EMBO also owned a pet Anuba named Marok and a saucer-shaped starship called the Guillotine. As of now, we know EMBO to be alive and still taking bounties after the Battle of Jakku. At his peak, EMBO was considered second only to Cad Bane in the entire galaxy. Bane personally held himself in higher regard, but also respected EMBO's ability. Fun fact, EMBO was voiced by Clone Wars creator Dave Filoni himself. Number 4. Ora Singh. This bounty hunter was actually Force-sensitive. That's right, Ora Singh was a Poladuvan and originally a Jedi, but following a series of tragedies and misfortunes, she left the Order. Singh was a very skilled markswoman who favored a sniper rifle and specialized in Jedi and political assassinations. Also skilled in hand-to-hand combat, Ora was able to hold her own against Jedi like Ahsoka Tano. Completely ruthless, Ora Singh did not shy away from killing bystanders or turning on incompetent partners, as demonstrated when Castus insults her behind her back. She casually guns him down without hesitation and carries on with her conversation. Ora Singh was known for her built-in comlink antenna atop her head. Her skull contained a biocomputer that allowed her to track multiple threats simultaneously and to line up distant shots with her sniper rifle. Ora's fate was ultimately explained in Solo: A Star Wars Story.
You're Tobias Beckett. You killed Ora Singh.
Pushed her. Pretty sure the fall killed her.
Number 5. Dirge. A fearsome Jedi, the bounty hunter Dirge belonged to a species whose bodies were made up of a mass of regenerative tentacles, which allowed them to heal wounds quickly and be notoriously difficult to kill. This granted Dirge the ability to take damage that other species would consider fatal, such as being pierced through the abdomen. Dirge had a calm demeanor and only spoke when he needed to or was provoked. Dirge aligned himself with the Separatists during the Clone Wars and faced off with Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi on multiple occasions. Dirge survived into the reign of the Galactic Empire, where he worked with other bounty hunters like Boba Fett and Bosk, and he also encountered Dr. Aphra. Dirge had a large stature and incredible strength, and was skilled with a wide arsenal of weapons. He was able to carry large cannons like the E-Web Heavy Repeating Blaster, as if it was as light as a Z6 rotary cannon. Dirge wore a suit of powerful silver armor with blue and red markings, able to withstand blaster fire without leaving a mark. An adept pilot, Dirge flew both a Rogue-class Porax 38 starfighter and a Nova Sword at different times. In Legends, Dirge was launched and force-pushed into a star by Anakin Skywalker, where he was truly killed. However, as mentioned in canon, he survives into the reign of the Galactic Empire. Number 6. DJarin. The first words the titular character of The Mandalorian ever spoke sum him up perfectly.
I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
A no-nonsense Mandalorian hunter, DJarin was among the galaxy's best in the post-Imperial era. Few outside of his Mandalorian covert knew his true name, simply referring to the hunter as the Mandalorian or Mando. Djarin traveled across the galaxy's Outer Rim territories, collecting bounties as a member of the Bounty Hunters Guild. Quickly becoming one of the guild's best hunters, he developed a reputation for being an expensive yet famous and formidable hunter, known to be the best in his parsec. Din eventually earned a full set of Beskar armor, making him extremely durable. He was also proficient with a variety of weapons, including a IB-94 blaster pistol, pulse rifle, whistling birds, vibroblade, and of course the Darksaber, which makes him extremely deadly in combat. On top of that, Mando was an experienced pilot and showcased his strategic mind on several occasions, whether it's in the Razor Crest or N1 Starfighter. In comparison to the other bounty hunters we've mentioned so far, Din Djarin certainly had a far stronger moral code, but that didn't stop him from getting his job done and earning his reputation. Number 7. Black Chrysanthemum. How do you get more badass than a Wookiee bounty hunter? After fleeing Kashyyyk, Chrysanthemum was trained by the infamous Zonti brothers as a gladiator, later becoming a ferocious bounty hunter. Hired by the likes of Jabba the Hutt and Darth Vader on various occasions, Chrysanthemum went toe-to-toe with Obi-Wan Kenobi, who gave him the scars across his face. If that isn't enough of an endorsement, he is later hired by Boba Fett himself to help him secure his position as Daimo of Mos Espa, only after Chrysanthemum had nearly killed him, of course. Wookiees had a high tolerance for pain, with Chrysanthemum's only enhanced due to his gladiatorial training. Even when at the mercy of blades, spears, and several blaster bolts, Chrysanthemum proved himself capable of standing strong. He could lift massive boulders, crush bones, and throw other creatures around with ease. The Wookiee would also utilize his sharp teeth to bite on occasion. His knuckles had been injected with a metal filling, amplifying the force of his blows even further through the use of his electrified, spiked knuckle dusters. Number 8. Asajj Ventress. The former apprentice of Count Dooku didn't exactly have many prospective jobs she could apply for after being betrayed by him. When Ventress failed to seek her revenge and the Night Sisters were slaughtered for it, she stumbled her way into becoming a bounty hunter. After accidentally killing one of the other members of Boba Fett's crew, Krait's Claw, she joined them. Ventress hadn't thought much about being a bounty hunter, but the work was a natural fit for her. Her previous combat training, as well as her force powers and tactical mind, proved vital to the success of their first hunt. Even though she may be better remembered as a fallen Jedi and apprentice to Dooku, Ventress saw much success as a bounty hunter. After all, it's not like any of her fellow hunters carried 2 lightsabers. Number 9. Fennec Shand. Skilled and ruthless, Fennec Shand worked her way up the criminal underworld during the beginning of the Empire's reign, becoming renowned and gaining a reputation as a cunning and elite mercenary and master assassin. Taking jobs for top crime syndicates like the Hutts, Shand went on the run after the fall of the Empire and imprisonment of many of her employers. Though hunted down and left for dead, fate would intervene, and she was rescued by Boba Fett and fitted with cybernetics. Shand was a highly skilled mercenary with a reputation Din Djarin had heard of that made him hesitate in attempting to capture her. Shand was extremely skilled in hand-to-hand combat and wielded an MK sniper rifle as her primary weapon, keeping a small blade hidden in the stock. She wore a distinctive multi-layered and complex suit that gave her the greatest possible flexibility, complete with a helmet. Number 10. Greo. We gave this guy a lot of flack in that other bounty hunter video, so this one is for you Greo enjoyers. The Rhodian was raised on Tatooine and began taking jobs during the Clone Wars and was frequently hired by Jabba the Hutt. Greo thought highly of himself as a big-time bounty hunter due to his employment to Jabba the Hutt, even believing himself more prestigious than Boba Fett, though others saw him as somewhat unremarkable. Greo favored a DLT-12 heavy blaster pistol, which packed a solid punch for its size. Greo was known to have rotten luck, and that proved true for the majority of his life. However, his death at the hands of Han Solo was no fault but his own, as he let his guard down to gloat. Perhaps one of few bounty hunters known more for his death than career. But which of these bounty hunters is your favorite? Are there any we missed out on? Let me know in the comments. Come join us to chat more at our community Discord server, linked in the description. If you enjoyed today's Star Wars video, we've got more on the screen for you right now. Also make sure to drop a like, and if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe to join the Red Squadron. Until next time, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you. Red 5 standing by.